You guys, I think we have a winner. Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I know I always say I'm excited to be on here, but today I'm legitimately so excited because I have heard nothing about this foundation. I have seen a million advertisements everywhere for it, but I have not found a single review for it yet, and I knew that I needed to get my hands on it. So I actually got mine from ILIA Beauty. I am really excited to be talking to you guys about it today because I think this might be surpassing my love of Vapor Atmosphere Soft Focus Foundation and Luminous Foundation. There's a time and a place for those. I think I still love those. I still have a place in my heart for them, but this is something new that I have never tried in the natural beauty world. I haven't seen a texture like this, I haven't seen a finish like this, and I haven't felt something like this on my face. So I'm really excited to be sharing this review with you guys today. I hope it's helpful if you too are thinking about purchasing this foundation. I'm going to start off by just giving kind of the basics of the foundation like I always do. Then I'm going to go ahead and talk about my personal opinion of it, and I'll show you guys how I applied it to my skin. I actually have it on right now. I was planning on wearing my hair down, but I felt like it would be better for me just to sweep it off my face so you guys can get a better idea of what it really looks like. Okay, so I'm just gonna open my little notes because last night I was actually researching it a little bit, so I knew exactly what to tell you guys about it. First thing is just the name. It is called ILIA True Skin Serum Foundation. So the serum implies that there's some skincare sort of benefits to it. It also implies that there's a sort of different texture to it than a usual foundation that you would find on the shelf. It retails for about $54, which is a bit steep. It is a little bit expensive, and I would say that is one negative side of this foundation. Just right off the bat, it is pricey. So for that $54, you're only getting 1 ounce of products. You are getting an actual pump, which is nice because then you don't have to keep dipping into something, and it keeps it a little bit more sanitary. It's 100% natural dyes in it, which is amazing. It's a vegan product. ILIA is a cruelty-free brand, so those are both pluses. And then there's 10 shades, which seems like a pretty good spectrum. However, I will say on either end of the spectrum, so for particularly pale people or people who have darker skin tones, I feel like there's not a ton of range. Everything feels very much towards the center, like more tan neutral colors, which is obviously not ideal because all of us come in so many different shades, and you really want to have a lot of spectrum whenever you come out with a range of foundation or concealer or anything that's a face product. That being said, I will say I am actually the second lightest tone, and it's still a little bit dark for me. I think it looks pretty good on camera, but in real life it does look a little bit darker. It oxidizes just a little bit the longer you wear it. And so I know for someone like Indie Boo, who I went to that Tata Harper event with, we were talking about ILIA, and none of the shades actually work for her because she's too pale. So if I'm the second lightest color, then that makes me wonder if the darker colors are actually darker than they look online, because the one that I have looked pretty fair online. So I don't know if any of you have kind of swatched them, sampled them. Definitely let everyone know down in the comments below how the shade range is in your opinion. I've personally only seen these online, so I can only speak to that. And like I said, I have the second lightest shade, and that is called Tavarua, and I have it in SF2. So that's for light skin with neutral undertones. And I do think, especially as it gets into spring and there's a little bit more sun, I do think that this is going to be my color. I just think right now, if you kind of look at my neck is pretty pale. So I do have to bring the foundation down onto my neck if I'm wearing a shirt like this. So I'm just going to read you the description while I actually show you guys the product. So on ILIA's website, on the box, everything, it says, True Skin Serum Foundation is a complexion perfecting serum infused foundation that's equal parts skincare and color correction. Weightlessly delivers buildable medium coverage with a silky finish while nourishing with a powerful blend of botanical actives that leaves skin looking like skin. Aloe leaf, rosehip, jojoba, and marula oils soothe irritations, tame redness, plump fine lines, and ensure the formula effortlessly melts into the skin for a more even, luminous appearance. Blurs imperfections and minimizes pores for a complexion that looks refined and refreshed. So obviously it claims a lot. As you guys saw, it comes in this sort of like frosted glass container. The packaging does feel very luxurious. I feel like ILIA's packaging is really like sturdy and feels very luxurious. So I actually, give them props on that, and I think their foundation is aligned with that. I will already tell you it is a little bit messy because it's a serum foundation, so it's a little bit more runny than a traditional foundation, and so you do have to kind of clean the head of the foundation in order to keep it from getting all over the cap and stuff. I have gotten it in my hair before. Yeah, so just be warned, it is a liquidy foundation. Also, on the container of note, it says shake well, and that is not a joke. You'll see when I actually put on the foundation, I shook it really well at the beginning, and then I went in to put on a second layer, and just in that time of putting on my foundation, which was maybe about like 4 or 5 minutes, it had already separated again, and I didn't shake it. So when I actually put the second pump on my hand, it was separated into sort of like an oily pigment sort of texture, which obviously isn't ideal. I had to mix it with my fingers on my hand. So definitely shake well. So I'm going to show you guys me actually applying it to my face, and I'll kind of keep talking about how I feel about it, a little bit about what was going through my head when I was putting it on, and sort of like the overall review of it. So this is described as a light to medium foundation, and I think that's very true. I felt like one pump was enough to do my whole face and then go back in to sort of pack on a little bit more coverage to the areas that I needed it. That's maybe just because I have a small face. I don't really know. But one pump all the way down was plenty for me to cover my whole face. I watched a video where the founder was actually applying it to a model, and she was talking about how she likes to apply it, and she mentioned her fingers. So I thought for the sake of this video, I would use my fingers to put it on, and I cannot tell you guys how much of a difference it made. I used a beauty blender when I first was trying this, because I've kind of been trying it this whole week so I could give you a real review of it, not just a first impression. And I used a beauty blender for the first time that I used it, and I felt like, wow, this is a really nice foundation, but it's not giving me a lot of coverage. It's very, very sheer, and I'm just not really enjoying it that much. I don't think it's amazing. I don't know if it's worth $54. Applying it with your fingers is a totally different game. Something about the warmth of your fingers, something about taking that time to just pat it into your skin and not have it absorb any product into a brush, into a beauty blender, just it's insane what a difference it makes. That one pump, like I said, did my whole face, and then I had leftover that I could go back in and pack on a second layer. It also gave me so much more coverage doing it with my fingers. Yes, it took a little bit longer. It did take me about like 5 to 6 minutes to apply the first layer of foundation. That's also because I'm really careful to make sure I'm really blending. That's also because I put it all over my face, not in just certain areas, but it does take a little bit longer to pat it in with your fingers and really take that time to work with it. However, with this foundation, I think it's worth it. I think the payoff you get is incredible. I think it transforms the foundation into pretty much exactly what they say on the box, which is hard to believe, I know, but this is not false advertising, people. For me personally, this is probably gonna be my go-to new foundation because it is weightless. It feels like real skin on your face. It looks like real skin on your face. I don't feel like it really emphasized the areas where I have larger pores. However, I will say it did grab at some dry places. So if you have very flaky dry skin, I would make sure that you're exfoliating your face before you're using this product. That way it'll just lay a little bit smoother on your skin and it won't grab at those dry areas. I have one right on my forehead here, and I can see that the product is starting to kind of cluster there. That being said, on other areas of my face where I have dry skin but no flakes, it feels great. My skin doesn't feel tight, it doesn't feel heavy. I actually have 2 layers of this on. I went back in and I put on a second layer, and I am just totally amazed by how weightless it feels. And something that was really telling for me is, yes, I love natural beauty, yes, I love makeup, but I don't wear makeup every day, and I'm also, when I have a lot of makeup on, I am someone who's eager to take a lot of makeup off. I'm not someone who likes anything that feels heavy on my face. And last night when I was taking off this foundation, I almost forgot that I had put anything on my face. It felt like a CC cream, it felt like a BB cream. Yes, it soaked into my skin a little bit. Yes, the pigment was a little bit gone and there wasn't as much coverage at the end of the day, so no, it's not a 24-hour foundation. I feel like most foundations shouldn't be 24 hours and you really should not be wearing it for 24 hours. But what I'm trying to get at is that it doesn't feel heavy. You never get to that point, at least for me personally, in the day where I'm like, oh, get this off my face. It doesn't feel like a mask. It doesn't feel oily. Something that I also really appreciate about this foundation is the fact that it truly, truly sets. You still get a ton of luminosity. You still get that sort of silky, smooth feeling, but it sets and it doesn't move, which is so amazing. Products layer beautifully over the top of it. I didn't feel like there's any movement in the coverage that I had. I also waited about a minute or two to see how it was gonna set before I added anything over top, and I really feel like it did a great job of just staying in place, of being like a blank canvas that I could add to. I don't feel like I needed to use as much product on top of my face because the pigment of every other product was really brought out since I had this sort of, like I said, a blank canvas. I do feel like once you start adding that second layer or that like second and a half layer, it does start to look heavier. So, you know, anticipate that. Know that if you're adding that to areas that are a little bit more textured, it might grab at that. So I would be wary of adding that second layer, and I would do it sparingly. I only did it in certain areas where I really felt like I needed that extra coverage, and I think that's the trick. I think that's the trick with most foundations, but for me, the one thing about this foundation is it does start to show the more you layer it. So be careful how much you're adding to it, but I have to say that first layer of application and then the like second one in certain areas after that really give me the exact look that I wanted on my face. So now that you guys kind of saw me applying it and you heard that little review of it, my wrap-up thoughts are just that I am really enjoying this foundation. Yes, there are some cons, and I just want to explicitly list them out here. One, shade range. I'm not sure how inclusive the shade range is. I definitely need to see it in person and be able to look at all the different colors and how they actually swatch. The second thing is the price. This is a pricey foundation. There is no getting around it. It is $54. You need to be sure that you want to make this investment. So again, I would go and test it. I would make sure that you can either get the right color by, you know, getting samples of it or swatching it, or make sure wherever you're getting it from, you can actually return it if it's not the right color, because this isn't something that you just want sitting around your vanity. You want to be able to use this. The third con is if you have very, very dry skin that has flakes. I do feel like it's going to cling to that. I feel like most foundations do, and if that is your skin type, I do think it's better to tend towards a CC cream or a BB cream, but with a good exfoliant beforehand. I think that this foundation would be amazing for you, because I do think this is like the foundation version of a CC or a BB cream. It is that lightweight sort of texture. It feels like your skin can breathe. It doesn't feel heavy on your skin, and if you're into those, then you for sure will be into this foundation. So the pros, I feel like I've already gone over them so many times, but biggest pro is just that I really like this foundation. It's lightweight, it's breathable, it's versatile. You can have a very light coverage, but you can build it up in certain areas to a medium coverage. I feel like it really looks like your skin. It is the perfect amount of luminosity, but it also has this setting power where you don't feel like anything's sliding off your face or greasy or anything like that. I am really over the moon with this foundation so far. I know this is gonna be what I'm reaching for, especially when I have like an event or a date where I wanna look really nice and fresh and put together, but still really myself. And one last thing I don't want you guys to forget going forward is, for me, I think applying it with your fingers makes so much of a difference. So to apply with your fingers, you're just gonna pump it on the back of your hand. You're gonna take your one finger, dot it into that dot, and then just dot it onto your face. It doesn't set immediately, so you have some time to work with it. And then use 2 to 3 fingers to just press it in. And I know that sounds tedious, but you just continue to press it in to all of the areas, cover all the areas of your face until it's really well blended. Afterwards, you could go over with a sponge if you're worried that maybe your blending technique isn't all there yet and you want to just make sure that everything looks seamless. But I do think that fingers make a huge difference with this foundation. So please, please try that first. If any of you have bought this foundation and have any other tips, please leave them down in the comments below. I know everyone would appreciate it. I personally would really appreciate it. I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. I post 2 videos a week, so make sure to hit that subscribe button if you wanna be a part of this community where we talk all things natural beauty and health and wellness. I of course will link this product down below, so if this review has made you guys think, oh man, I really need this foundation, then head to the description box. I always link products down there and like everything else that you would need. If I missed anything or if you guys have any questions, again, let me know in the comments down below. I will make sure to answer them as soon as I possibly can. And thank you guys so much for joining me today. I just had the best time, and I will see you all next week. Bye!